Hi guys, and welcome to episode 11 of Surrey Tennis Talks. Today we have a very special episode for you. Our county performance manager, Justin Sherring, will be chatting to England cricket star Ollie Pope. There'll be plenty in this episode for you to dissect, all about elite mentality, as well as the differences between cricket and tennis at that performance level. So we really hope you enjoy it, and over to you, Justin.
Okay, so good morning. This morning we have Ollie Pope. Good morning, Ollie.
Morning.
It's amazing to have you on our Tennis Surrey Talks, because although you have played a little bit of tennis, I think the world of sport knows you for playing cricket, and just really privileged to have England opening batsman, England batsman, and Surrey cricketer with us. Yeah, so although I understand at the moment you're going through rehabilitation for a dislocated shoulder, how's that going?
Yeah, it's okay. It's pretty repetitive. I think I had an operation about 3 or 4 months ago now. I don't know, it's all a bit of a blur, but lots of hours in the gym, just rehabbing the shoulder, trying to get some strength and movement back, but hopefully not too much longer. Now,
there's a few things that we have in common. Just to start off, I used to play lots of cricket myself as a junior. B, I've also had total labrum renewal on my shoulder, so I had a dislocated shoulder as well.
Oh, really?
And 3, we both know Ollie Duckworth.
There we go.
So before we've even really got to know each other, just to outline, we've got a few things in common.
Nice.
So because commonality is really what I'd like the chat to be a little bit about, because although everyone thinks of cricket as being a team sport, you have these one-to-one battles a lot of the time, and I'd quite like to focus a little bit on that, because of course tennis is sort of a gladiator sport, one against one, both guys and really I was thinking, when you're batting, you've got these one-on-one battles with bowlers that could go on for a couple of days, different bowlers, and you've got these one-to-one interactions. And although everyone thinks, as I say, cricket as a team sport, what's it like when you're in that sort of face-off and you've got that moment with that bowler steaming down at you, and all he wants to do is get you out, and all you want to do is stick around? So I'd quite like to focus. We've got 20 minutes. I'd quite like to focus on those sort of interactions that you have in these one-to-one battles. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, especially maybe more so in international cricket, because you play series. Obviously, you might play a 5-match series against the same side over and over again. And as a batter, if the bowler's got you out a couple of times and you're struggling with a specific bowler because of how he bowls his action, maybe there's different paces, different skill sets, then it can be a good challenging situation to find yourself in, if you feel like they've almost got the wood over you. And it's just about how you deal with it, really. And you see a lot of people deal with these battles in a quite a different, specific way. You see some guys try and get maybe a little bit more verbal and try almost G themselves up a little bit and try and sort of verbally get stuck into the opposition a little bit more. But I think as a batter, you can't really win, because you're eventually going to get out. So it's quite hard for you to win that. So it's more the bowlers giving the batsman a little bit of chirp. But like I said, everyone deals with it in a different way. And whether you want to see it as a real battle or try and forget who's bowling, then it's everyone's got their own specific ways. I personally, when I'm playing my best, I quite like almost getting in the battle, and there's sometimes where if the bowler does give you a bit of stick, it actually I use that as a positive, because it means he's trying to sort of take a different line of attack and try and get in your mind a little bit, and because he feels like he can't get you out through his skill sets with the ball, so he tries to get into your head a little bit as well.
That's really interesting, and I'm sorry to jump straight into the deep end, but I'm really pleased with your answer, because we've got a lot of junior tennis players that have to deal with this interaction, and a lot of the time their skill set's pretty good. They can all play good tennis, but it's the one-to-one matching up of emotional it gets to sort of like emotional level and gets in your head level. And what you've just described there is a lot of what junior tennis players go through. You know, even trying to break someone's serve, you can't break this guy, and you sort of looking at your mum and dad and go, what am I supposed to do? And is there anything that you do sort of beforehand? I'm hoping the answer is yes. Is to prepare yourself for certain bowlers if you know what they're all about. How much will you spend looking at the way their action is, or the way they try and get inside your head? Would you spend a lot of time preparing for that?
Yeah, absolutely. From a technical point of view, I think I try and look at. I guess it's tennis and cricket can be similar in that way. You try and analyze your opponent pretty in depth. So I try and work out all bowlers bowl with a different angle, whereabouts on the crease they release the ball from, what pace they which way they swing the ball. So every match I try and be as specific as possible. So for example, you're facing, say, Jimmy Anderson, who bowls lovely away swing and then a few in swingers, you try and make sure your practice with the 2 or 3 days before are very specific to facing a bowler like him. And I like to cover basically all bases above and beyond. So in my mind, if I know I've done as much preparation for each bowler as I can, then I can walk into that game feeling like I've done everything I can to be successful. And hopefully then that'll allow me just to go out and perform with no real stresses. And then from a mental point of view, I like getting in the battle, but not necessarily making it too verbal when I'm batting. I'll rarely go back at a bowler if he's trying to chirp me. And again, like in tennis, you need to switch on. As a batter, you need to switch on. You stand at the crease. When the bowler starts running in, that's when you need to switch on. And I guess it's the same as like being in between points in tennis. When I'm batting, I like to try and switch off for maybe 30 seconds in between balls, just because if you're setting out to play a long innings, it's quite hard mentally to focus that intensely for that long a time. So I might try and pick a point outside the stadium. So for example, if we're lucky enough to play in Cape Town, it's next to Table Mountain. So I'll spend 20 seconds just looking at the mountain and then I know as soon as I'm stood at the crease, as soon as the bowler starts his run up, then that's when I'm back in. So I'll try not get too involved in the opposition's sort of chat, because like I said before, as a batter, you're eventually going to get out. So it's quite hard to win unless you're on the 100 odd, then maybe I'll have a little word back, but it's quite hard to win. So I use that, I try and stay in my own little bubble, but also try inside, just find a way of just switching off and just trying to stay almost as relaxed as possible and not getting not overthinking too much and not getting too involved with the opposition, even if sometimes the opposition almost chat to you and try and almost be friendly just to try and make you lose your focus a little bit. So there's a lot of different ways that they can do that, and I just try and be as consistent as I can and try, to be honest, not get involved. And I don't think whatever they say, I just don't let it affect the way I play.
That's really cool. That's really interesting, because you could be, if you hadn't mentioned Table Mountain and at the crease, we could be talking about a number of different sports there. In the way that you approach it. Now, would you say that a lot of your sort of mentality and that sort of calmness and that sort of it's quite a grown up approach, for, if you don't mind me saying, for someone that's quite young? I mean, you're still in your very early 20s, aren't you?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah. So is this something that your school teachers and your junior cricket coaches would have recognised as an early sort of talent, if you like? With you growing up, your sort of calmness, your sort of professional, sort of grown-up approach to the mind games of cricket?
Potentially. I definitely had a lot to work on at school, and through the age groups. And to be honest, that was probably my weakness back in the day, and it's something that I'm still trying to improve on as much as I can. And if I was a horrendous loser, whether that's cricket, I remember losing the odd tennis game and it just ruined my week. So I think, and I try and just stay as level as possible. And it's something that I've learned probably since I got into the England side 3 years ago. I watched how the guys prepare for a game. I watched what they're like on the morning of a game. I watch what they're like when they're in a bit of bad form. And my biggest thing that I can take is just trying to stay as level as possible. I think like all sports, they're real levelers at the top end. So I try and remain on a constant, whether I score 100 or 0, or no matter what match I'm preparing for, I try and sort of prepare in the same way. So that allows me to go in knowing that I've, like I said earlier, ticked all the boxes, done all the right things to allow myself to be successful, and almost just trust that side of things, and that'll allow me to hopefully go out and perform in a calmer way. But it's still something I'm definitely working on, and I think as a young sportsman, and I've got hopefully a long way to go, but it's very important to make those adaptations as quickly as you can. So I'm still learning a lot from the older guys, and I think you can have all the ability in the world, but sort of mentally, if you haven't quite got it and you haven't quite learned quickly enough, it's going to be a tough challenge to sort of make it to the top. So it's all about just learning as quickly as you can. And yeah, my biggest thing at the moment is preparation, doing everything I can to be successful, and then just remaining pretty constant and level, because it's a leveler. One week you're going to go get 100, next week you might get 2 ducks in a row, and it's just trying to not let that affect the way you train, the way you are off the pitch. And that they're my biggest things.
That's great. That's really helpful. That's awesome, Ollie. Thank you so much for that. Now, a lot of the time, we're dealing with, part of my job is to sort of manage the junior county program for Surrey, of course, which I know is your county, from sort of under 8 up until under 18. But I also get to work with a professional player, Joe Salisbury, who was at the O2, the top 8 players in the world playing doubles. And what we notice is that what we try and do is the sort of day before, we'll do a lot of focus on the opposition. And then we sort of let that seep and just let that sink in and let that sort of soak into your body, and know that you've done your work, as you say. But then as we get nearer the actual contest itself, we focus a lot more on what we do well as a team, and really bring those self skills to the surface so that they're really sharp, i.e., Joe making sure that he's really sharp around the net, really feeling athletic. So a lot of the language will be based around his personal skill set. So having done the work the night before on the opposition, it's then all about him and his skills. So that's the main focus. And I'm just looking at a little bit, because we're trying to help tennis parents to get better at helping their kids and coaches. So on the day of the actual tournament, on the day of the actual innings and the match, is there a little quiet place that you might head off to and just get yourself in a zone, or repeat a certain mantra, or even listen to something, in your headset to really get you in that mood?
Yeah, and I think absolutely there is. I think that all starts, I think, the day before the mental preparations really start. I think before, so I'll use an example. So when we play a test match, it's obviously a 5-day match, so it can be pretty tiring. But the 2 days before the test will be, like you said, it'll be a lot of analysing the opposition and being really specific to what we're going to face as a batter, or the bowlers will be really specific how they'll bowl to specific batters themselves. So and then they're big training days. And then the day before, a lot of it is, you'll see a lot of players hit a lot less balls, and you'll see the bowlers maybe bowl an overreach. And I'll use Stuart Broad, for example. He'll rarely bowl a ball the day before a game. He just goes out to the middle. He stands at the top of his mark. He takes it all in, looks around the stadium, and pictures himself running in the next day. And I think that's a massive part of it, is that mental preparation. And everyone's so different in their own specific ways. But like you said, you can prepare as much as you want for the opposition. You can know exactly what they want to do, but if you're not doing your basics 100% yourself, then you can know exactly how the bowler's going to try and get you out, or how your opposition is going to play against you. But yeah, if you're not on it yourself, it's it's not gonna go too well. So like you said, there's obviously that focus on the opposition, but it's also not putting too much emphasis on that. It's also remembering if I can nail all, for example, like you said, your volleys around the net, or for me it'd be if I can just nail my defense and things like that, then that's then you hopefully it'll set you in good stead. But it's just that routine. I'm in a bit of a routine, and I like watching how the other batters go about their stuff as well. So Ben Stokes, for example, I remember him. We were playing West Indies in the summer. He played amazingly. I think he got a 60 and a 40, but looked unbelievable. And then he didn't. I think he hit a few underarm. We had 3 days in between the games. He hit a few underarms. Didn't face a single bowler. Barely did anything because he was confident, he was ready in his own mind, and he went out and scored 100 that game after. So it shows everyone's different, and I think the quicker that you work out your own preparation, the better. But it's about knowing the opposition, but not fearing them as well, and just having a specific plan of attack in your own mind. I think is the key to that, and then just nailing the basics yourself.
That's brilliant. That's really, really good as well. Thank you so much. Now, we've all got them. We all have to deal with them, and we're talking a little bit, if you don't mind, just a little bit about parents. So growing up, obviously you've been playing cricket for quite a long time now, even though you're young. What sort of role, what sort of support, what sort of things did you have to deal with, like too much intensity from one of your parents, or not enough, or they let you get on with it and do your own thing? What sort of ways did your parents help to sort of facilitate and support, or even conversely not do the right thing and you've had to sort of say, look, Dad, you're gonna have to calm down, or Mum, just chill out? What sort of role did they play in your cricketing career so far?
To be honest, in my eyes, I've been brought up in the perfect way by my parents, and they've helped my cricket massively. They've always been lucky enough. They've always supported me. They've obviously provided a way of getting to a lot of games that are a long way away. But so I got into the Surrey side at 8 years old and worked my way up. And there's probably, I think, 2 or 3, if that, maybe 2 of us who started then and they're still in the setup now. And so we get to know each other. They're your best mates, and we get to know the parents and the relationship with their parents. And if I'm being completely honest, there's the guys who were put under a lot of pressure from their parents are the ones who sort of, I don't want to say fell out of love with the game, because that's up to them. But I think there'd be times where I'd have a bad game, and I'd chat to the old man about it. If he had any advice, he would talk to me, but I'd be in a bad mood, but they would just try and sort of lift my spirits, if anything. But then there was also guys that had a bad game, and their parents would make them walk home with their whole cricket bag on their back as well. And funny enough, they're the guys who aren't there now. And obviously it's different sports, but I think the guys who can have good support from their parents, but just aren't completely. It's not going to ruin their weekend if they have a bad game at the age of sort of 12, 13, or however old. Because I was pretty average until I was probably 17 years old. And I never felt any extra pressure from my parents. I put myself under enough pressure myself. And I think if you've got that hunger within you, it's something if you want it as much as possible, then you want to go to those training sessions on a cold Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening as well. And I didn't really feel that I needed my parents to sort of force me to do it. I remember I was playing football for I was doing these like Chelsea training camps when I was younger, and I was hating every minute of it. Mum would drive me, I think, over the Hog's Back somewhere. It was an hour and a half, and I thought, Mum's going to be really disappointed if I tell her I don't want to go here. And then I was like, Mum, I don't want to do this anymore. And she was like, oh, thank God, because I don't want to be driving you either, to be honest. But no, everyone's, like I said, everyone's different, and it's the same. Some players I know who in other sides have used their parents or their dads as their coach, and they like their dads to be there the whole time. But personally, I've had quite a relaxed environment from within the house, and there's been no added pressure. But and that's makes it even nicer now, and because I see how happy my success makes them as well when things do go to plan. So, and I know how many hours they've dedicated towards it, but without, like I said, putting me under too much pressure, because that's all there. You feel it 100% yourself as a kid, and I feel the last thing I need is I'm in a bad mood, and I don't want to make my old man in a bad mood because I've had a bad day as well. So yeah, it's just getting that balance between putting the pressure on and being like a not a shoulder to cry on after a bad day, but someone to speak to and someone to give you a little bit of advice if things don't go to plan. Or to be honest, the other way is someone to keep you a little bit level if things do go to plan as well. It's easy to get ahead of yourself in sport, especially when you're younger, and you might think you're better than you are when you have the odd good day out. And then that's where my parents have been good at just, we won't even speak about the game in the day. So it'll make you realise that there's more important things in life than what happened today on the cricket pitch.
That is such a great message. That is tremendous, because that's obviously it's a big issue in tennis, because you've always got that one-on-one situation. So it's not as if you can come off and say, well, you played great, but your other guys let you down. In tennis, it's all about you. So it can get quite hothousey and get quite intense. So that's a really nice message, and especially the idea that perhaps, I know you were very careful about what you said there, but we see in tennis all the times that the parents that just get a little bit too crazy and maybe start living their lives a little bit too much through their own players. They tend to sort of fade away, those players. Well, this has been absolutely tremendous. Really, really excited. And what are you looking forward to? I mean, are you sort of you're in? I know you're in a difficult sort of stage at the moment, but hopefully 2021 is going to be fantastic. How much do you sort of go to bed at night and just dream about being in the West Indies or being in Cape Town and can't wait to get out on the cricket pitch again? I mean, what sort of keeps you going in these dark times of not only Corona but also your injury? You just dream about the future, or do you just stick on a few videos of yourself playing really well, or how do you keep upbeat?
It's a little bit of both, to be honest. I think when you get injured for such a long period of time, because I did this. So I tore off my labrum last year as well. So I had this is my second operation on it. So I spent 3.5 months out, and I was watching all the boys playing, and the Ashes was going on, and I was like, I just want to go out and play. And I use it. I try and get away from the game a little bit, because I'll drive myself crazy if I spend 4 or 5 months just watching every single ball. And then when I get closer to that preparation, I'll use that time to sort of start worrying about my game and start thinking about the next sort of few weeks and how I can improve. But I use it, to adjust a few technical things in my mind. But it's actually, I mean, unfortunately, we've had enough breaks with COVID, and so when my shoulder injury came around last year, I remember I felt a bit drained. I'd had a long, probably 3 seasons and I'd gone away each winter and played all winter. So it was the first time I had any sort of time off. And I remember coming back from it and thinking, gee, I feel 10 times the player than I did before my injury, because I couldn't wait to get out there and couldn't wait to play. And it made me realize how much I loved the game. And that's not me saying I fell out of love with it, because it wasn't like that. It just made me really get that hunger back that I needed to. And then it was no coincidence that I probably hit my best form those months off straight after my injury. So hopefully I can do that again this time and use it just to. I watch it on the TV now. Now I'm getting a little bit closer to playing, and just think, geez, I want to be out there and just performing. It makes you realize how much you enjoy those training sessions, the matches, even the bad days. You learn so much from them, and you start missing all of those small things in the competition, especially when you don't play for so long.
God, that's really awesome, because even you're talking about injury, you're talking about COVID, but still we can hear your passion. Still we can hear your love of the game. And that, over the last sort of 20 minutes, Ollie, that's really, really come across. So I just want to say thank you so, so much. And I know we're talking about different sports, but gee whiz, we could be talking about any sport the way that you've been talking. So thank you so much again, and all the very best from everybody at Surrey Tennis. And anytime you want to, anytime you get a break and your shoulder's feeling good and you want to come and have a hit, we'd love to see you on the tennis court again.
Yeah, I'd love to get there. I used last lockdown to hone in on my tennis skills. Actually, I can still beat my old man, so hopefully that's still there.
Brilliant, mate. Well, thanks ever so much. Really, really appreciate it, and good luck. All the very best. Have a great, great Christmas.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Cheers for having me.
So there we have it. That was our interview with Surrey and England cricket star Ollie Pope. We hope you guys got really good insight into his attitude towards elite mentality, as well as performance, and indeed the relationship between cricket and tennis. So as always, we'll see you soon for our next episode, and we hope you guys have a great week. See you later. Bye-bye.